In the hush before breath, a call begins. It marks the first opening where inner listening starts. It marks the sacred context of a revealed discourse intended for seekers. The invitation awakens awareness of listening as the first step toward deeper knowing. It matters because it clears the veil that hides true perception. When this opening is felt, the mind rests in stillness. The practice that follows aligns breath with awareness. Through steady attention, the hidden layers of thought dissolve. Each moment of presence deepens the sense of belonging itself. No further effort is required beyond returning to the quiet center. The silence that follows holds the fullness of the call. It remains open for those who listen. It invites deeper presence. Hear you, the river that carries every breath unnoticed. Venu is the luminous current of consciousness that sustains all beings. A flow that never ceases and penetrates every cell. This current moves through each living form without interruption, providing the basis for thought, feeling, and action. When you perceive its presence, you realize that nothing exists apart from its movement, and all phenomena arise within it. Recognizing this truth removes attachment to fixed ideas and clears the mind of unnecessary tension. The awareness of an ever-present stream creates space for deeper perception and inner stillness. Rest in that quiet knowing, allowing the river to carry forward into complete openness. When the river is seen clearly, fear dissolves and purpose aligns naturally. This alignment invites a life lived in harmony with the flow, the quiet that precedes all movement. In this chapter, Venu is defined as both an external natural flow and an internal subtle current. It describes how the outward rhythm of wind, water, and light mirrors a hidden inner passage that carries awareness. This dual nature reveals that every change outside reflects a corresponding shift within. When attention rests on this alignment, it steadies without strain. The realization invites you to notice breath as a bridge between outer motion and inner stillness. In that moment, the distinction between observer and observed softens, revealing a seamless current of existence. The heart then rests in the quiet pulse of Venu, to settle into the simple knowing that flow exists both beyond and within. It remains open, unshaped, resting in pure awareness. Before any quest begins, there is a silent current. Recognizing Venu that moves beneath all action becomes the foundation of every advancement. When you notice this flow, the mind stops chasing distant goals and turns toward direct perception. That perception clears the way for true insight to arise without obstruction. Without it, any technique remains incomplete, bound to surface concerns. The practice then flows naturally from awareness rather than effort. In that state, the path unfolds with ease and clarity. The mind rests when it no longer seeks to dominate the current. In that stillness, the purpose of advancement becomes clear without needing a name. Assume this understanding to settle, like water finding its level. No further instruction follows, only the space for awareness to expand. The current flows without pause, unseen by the restless mind. Impermanence is the essential quality of Venu. It reveals that every form arises and dissolves in each breath. Notice that nothing remains fixed and the grip of desire loosens. The mind then rests in the place where Venu moves freely. This openness brings clarity without effort and supports true insight. In this state, the mind no longer seeks permanence, but simply observes change. The practice becomes a natural orientation rather than a forced effort. Stillness underlies all experience and truth. Rent here, allowing continuation. Thoughts arise and fade. Each moment is transient by nature. Awareness rests between thoughts. The quality of Venu persists unchanged. Notice the stillness beneath every sound. Faint ideas lock perception into a narrow channel. The river of change moves onward regardless. And resistance creates tension that manifests as suffering. Such rigidity shapes emotional responses, coloring each experience with fear or desire. When the mind insists on certainty, it blocks the flow of new insight. It signals that clinging limits freedom and deepens unrest. Recognizing this dynamic opens space for ease as the current carries all experience forward. Allowing each moment to dissolve without grasping invites a quiet presence. Rest in the flow, aware of breath, and let thoughts pass gently. In its openness, the mind rests without effort. Here the heart finds its natural rhythm. Peace settles like still water. In the breath before thought lies pure awareness. Mindfulness of flow invites constant observation of every mental ripple as it surfaces. It does not seek to change thoughts, but simply to note their coming and going. Attention rests on the space between thoughts, observing without labeling or reacting. When observation remains steady, craving loosens its hold on experience. Clarity emerges from seeing each thought as transient rather than fixed. This openness creates a quiet interior where insight can arise naturally. The mind, once accustomed to watching, becomes less reactive. Rinsed in this open listening, letting the flow settle into stillness, the practice steadies the heart quietly. Hastes, attentive listening to settle into the stillness that underlies all activity. Naught is the breath that rises and falls without effort. The practice sharpens attention to witness each moment as it unfolds and transforms. This direct seeing reveals how sensations, thoughts, and circumstances are never static. It dissolves the habit of grasping at fixed points and invites a spacious openness. Each perception shifts like water flowing over stones, leaving no identical pattern behind. Recognizing this constant flux empowers the practitioner to release resistance and move with ease. When awareness rests in this fluid insight, it no longer seeks stability, but embraces change. The mind settles naturally, without effort or desire, allowing insight to deepen on its own. In this resting, the heart opens to the subtle rhythm of existence. In every breath lies a quiet impulse to care. This subtle urging reveals the ethical injunction of compassionate action toward all sentient forms, inviting deeds that arise without expectation or bias. It calls each heart to move beyond self-interest and to extend kindness universally. When this truth is felt, it expands awareness beyond personal limits, allowing concern for each being to become natural expression of inner harmony. Acting from this place aligns intention with shared vitality and cultivates a steady presence that nurtures both giver and receiver. Such compassion transforms ordinary interactions into moments of shared growth, reinforcing the fabric of existence. This deepens the sense of belonging that underlies all experience. It anchors the heart in universal connection. The quiet that follows invites simply to rest in the recognition of interconnected life. Beneath every breath lies the silent current that connects all. Awareness of this hidden web brings compassion as its natural echo, ever present. Interdependence reveals that every being shares the same underlying flow of Venu. When this truth is held, the illusion of separation dissolves and care emerges without effort. Such care does not seek reward. It simply sustains connection itself. This sustaining presence steadies the mind and opens the heart. You rest in the quiet certainty that all life is woven together. The heart then acts from a place of pure intention, free from desire. In this alignment, the mind perceives unity beyond duality. A subtle current then carries all experience with gentle ease. current carries experience forward. In the space before breath, there is only emptiness. This awareness reveals that what you call yourself is a fleeting pattern of thought, not a permanent core. When the illusion of a fixed identity dissolves, resistance eases and natural ease emerges. Rinsed in this openness, without needing to label or define anything further. Each mental formation arises, lingers briefly, and fades, leaving no residue for attachment. The mind settles in stillness, allowing insight to surface on its own. In this space, there is no owner of thought, only the unfolding of presence. Thoughts appear, linger briefly, and dissolve, never acquiring a lasting hold. In that release, the sense of ownership fades, leaving pure awareness. The mind rests without seeking further clarification. Attachment holds fast to past narratives and future hopes. These narratives color perception, obscuring what is immediate. Presence emerges when those narratives lose their grip. Letting go releases this grip, allowing presence to surface. The mind habitually labels experiences, reinforcing the sense of ownership. Such labeling deepens the knot of attachment. When attention shifts from grasping to observing, space opens. In that openness, authenticity presents itself without effort. When clinging fades, awareness rests in its pure form. In that release, the mind rests without agenda. Why it matters is simple. Freedom arises when the self no longer seeks to control. Remain in this openness, untouched by thought. The moment settles, pure and complete. Feel the subtle hum that underlies every breath and thought. When chanting Venu's sacred syllables, one aligns personal vibration with this hidden pulse, creating a steady resonance within. This resonance serves as the foundation for deeper contemplation and integration. By repeating these syllables, the subtle frequency becomes more pronounced. The alignment produced through chanting steadies mental turbulence. It deepens awareness of the ever-present flow that underlies all experience. In this stillness, the mind rests in its natural frequency without effort. As still the resonance to remain as a quiet presence. The subtle vibration settles into the background of awareness. When this alignment occurs, thought patterns lose their grip and clarity emerges. The practice does not require external symbols. It rests solely on the sound of the syllables themselves. The effect endures beyond the chant. Beneath the surface of everyday breath, lies a subtle pulse. This hidden rhythm waits for attention to awaken it. Recitation offers a steady thread that draws this inner vibration into alignment with larger flow. Each tone reflects the quiet pulse of the cosmos into the self, deepening inner alignment. When the voice steadies, the currents within settle like water finding its level. The practice aligns personal rhythm with the universal beat, fostering inner stillness. Such alignment dissolves tension and opens space for insight to arise naturally. This clarity supports deeper presence without effort. The stillness deepens, inviting gentle awareness and calm. The resonance settles, leaving a quiet presence that remains undisturbed. In this resonance, the mind finds its natural rest. Deep within the stillness of your breath lies a quiet glow. Within every heart burns a steady radiance that never fades. It is the hidden ember from which all awareness springs. When this light is recognized, fear loosens its grip on thought. It steadies the mind against the turbulence of change. When you turn toward it, inner turmoil yields to calm clarity. In that stillness, the luminous core expands without effort. Its glow touches every thought, guiding perception. The breath slows, and the glow deepens in silence. It is the wellspring from which insight flows unimpeded. No outer circumstance can dim its steady presence. Here the luminous core rests, steady and whole. The quiet pulse that underlies all movement. Awakening this light reveals the deepest source of Venu. That source is described as the origin of every illumination. Realizing it means resting in an unconditioned presence beyond form. This realization dissolves separation and steadies the mind. It invites a confidence that does not depend on external validation. When this awareness settles, perception aligns with pure being. In that space, the world is seen as a natural unfolding rather than a challenge. The mind rests in its own clarity without seeking change. The light remains present, steady and unforced. No further effort is required to sustain this state. It simply is, inviting the listener to notice without naming. The breath returns to its natural rhythm, untouched by intention. Within the breath that escapes unnoticed lies inner awareness. This unseen path invites the heart to travel inward through successive layers of consciousness. Each layer reveals a subtler quality of awareness that was hidden beneath earlier perceptions. The journey does not seek arrival, but deepening recognition of the ever-changing inner space. It opens a space where compassion arises naturally from direct insight into interconnected layers. The awareness cultivated here steadies the mind and softens attachment to fleeting experiences. Such clarity nurtures a quiet confidence that guides daily actions without force. This steadiness allows the heart to move deeper without resistance. The inner journey becomes a steady companion in everyday life. In this stillness, the traveler rests, observing without effort. No further instruction is needed. The presence remains. Before awareness stirs, a silent current already flows. The travel maps stages that begin in deep ignorance and end in full awakening. Each stage reveals a deeper layer of insight as the river of consciousness expands. When the mind releases fixed notions, the path clears and light emerges naturally. In its first phase, the mind clings to fragmented images, mistaking them for reality. Gradually, awareness sharpens, and each insight peels away layers of veiled perception. As the current deepens, the traveler experiences moments of clarity that dissolve lingering doubt. When the final stage is reached, the veil lifts and pure presence remains. Each moment of insight reinforces the trust that transformation is inevitable. The path forward becomes a steady rhythm of awakening. The journey settles into stillness. Before thought arises, there is a silent space where all possibilities rest. All phenomena arise together, each giving rise to the others in an endless web of cause and effect. Each phenomenon depends on the presence of every other, forming a network where cause and effect are inseparable. When one element changes, the whole pattern shifts, revealing that nothing exists apart from relational flow. Recognizing this mutual arising dissolves the illusion of isolated existence and opens the mind to deeper insight. It invites a shift from seeking separate causes toward appreciating the interdependence of all things. Rest in the awareness that every experience is part of a continuous process. Remain open to the quiet realization without need for further explanation. Before any event, the river beneath all happenings already moves. That current carries every sensation, thought, and circumstance without exception. It does not pause for personal desire or fear. It simply includes each moment as part of its endless flow, because every ripple connects to the whole. No experience can be truly separate. Thus the river holds all stories within its single current. When you notice that nothing stands apart, the mind loosens its habit of separation. That awareness lets the flow be felt directly, not as isolated pieces. The river continues without judgment, inviting a resting presence. In that openness, compassion arises naturally toward all that flows. The current remains steady, inviting rest within its movement. The river simply moves, carrying all without end. The breath that steadies you precedes all movement. When deeds arise without expectation, they become a clear mirror of inner insight. Such action does not seek reward. It simply expresses the depth of understanding that resides within. In this way, outer effort reveals inner clarity and dissolves the illusion of separation. When intention is free of personal gain, perception sharpens and the heart remains open. The selfless act reveals wisdom in action. It invites the listener to see service as the purest form of knowing. In this quiet space, the mind rests, unburdened by desire. The heart opens without condition, allowing insight to arise naturally. In this state, the distinction between giver and receiver fades. Rest in this simple truth. Natis, the breath that rises before thought arrives. When action proceeds, without desire for result, intention becomes clear. The mind releases its grip on outcomes and rests in openness. This emptiness is not void, but a space where purpose unfolds naturally. It invites the heart to settle. In this state, desire loses its hold, allowing action to flow pure. The heart remains steady while the world changes around it. Such steadiness invites peace that does not seek reward. Allows the mind to settle here without further pursuit. When intention is unburdened, clarity arises naturally. The practice of non-attachment becomes a quiet strength. It supports all movement without clinging. Such freedom allows every deed to become an offering. Rest here in the stillness of pure intent. Feel the breath that precedes every gesture. When daily tasks unfold, bring full attention to each movement. Observe how this awareness turns labor into conscious expression, and speech into a clear channel of pure intention. Each action shows the current state of inner alignment. Mindful work aligns the body's rhythm with purpose, allowing effort to arise without strain. When speech is chosen with care, it clears mental clutter and invites clarity. In this simple practice, the ordinary experience deepens presence, and the mind rests in stillness that follows attentive action. The practice invites a a gentle return whenever distraction arises. No need to force change. Simply notice the shift. Each moment of awareness continually deepens the integration of work and word. Beneath routine lies a silent depth, often unnoticed. It offers practical steps to keep awareness alive while handling daily tasks. The guidance urges you to anchor breath in moments of activity. Such alignment steadies the mind amid demands and prevents fragmentation. It transforms ordinary effort into a continuous reverence for inner stillness, rinsed here in the quiet that follows action. This practice sustains balance without demanding retreat from responsibility. It invites a gentle return to presence each time distraction arises. Over time, the inner rhythm becomes a steady companion through duties. The result is a mind that moves fluidly within the world while remaining anchored inwardly. In this space, the soul rests without effort. Breath returns to the center naturally. In quiet moments before thought arises. The 12th discourse speaks of liberation as the final state when one aligns completely with Venu's flow. This alignment means allowing every inner movement to merge without opposition. It requires dropping the habit of grasping at outcomes and instead resting in the current itself. It dissolves a sense of separate self that seeks to control. When resistance fades, freedom rises as a natural certainty that does not demand proof. This certainty rests in the still point, where movement and stillness are one. It is not a goal to be reached, but the breath that returns when striving ceases. In this space, the mind settles without need for further explanation. Here, the mind rests, open and unburdened. Beneath each ripple lies an untouched calm. Liberation is not a distant goal, but the quiet that already rests within awareness. When this truth is recognized, the chase for achievement loses its grip. The mind rests in its natural stillness, no longer seeking elsewhere. This state requires no effort, only noticing. It is ever present, waiting beneath thought. I sell the realization to settle. The awareness that liberation is already here removes the need for future attainment. It invites a simple trust in what is present. Without effort, the heart opens to its own completeness. When distraction arises, it fades without altering the underlying stillness. This recognition steadies attention, allowing life to unfold with ease. The practice is simply to notice and let go. Beneath the world's noise lies a quiet pulse. That pulse is the sacred sound that animates every form. It is not a distant chant, but the very vibration that holds atoms together. This sound exists before language, before thought, as the underlying rhythm of existence. When attention rests on this vibration, the mind perceives unity without effort. Recognizing this vibration aligns intention with the flow of creation. It dissolves separation, allowing compassion to arise naturally from shared resonance. The awareness of this sound steadies breath and clarifies purpose. It also deepens the sense of belonging to all that is. In quiet moments, the vibration becomes a still point within, inviting presence. The mind rests in the simplicity of this resonance. No further effort is required beyond listening. Before the first breath, an unseen rhythm begins. This unseen rhythm is the common thread that weaves together ritual, teaching, and practice. It binds action, knowledge, and embodiment into a single moving current. It is not an abstract notion, but the lived reality that makes each rite meaningful. Through this thread, disparate forms converge into a single purposeful movement. When this connection is felt, effort aligns with understanding, and intention resonates with outcome. The practice then becomes a seamless expression of the same flow it seeks to honor. When the thread is honored, the heart finds steadiness amid change. Such steadiness allows insight to arise without straining. Rest in the awareness of this continuous thread. Notice the ever-changing breath within you. Impermanence is the constant flux that characterizes every phenomenon, leaving no element untouched by change. When this truth is recognized, attachment loosens and mental agitation recedes. The mind allows calm clarity to arise without grasping, understanding that all conditions are transient, removes the urge to cling. This removal of clinging reduces suffering and supports inner freedom. Still the insight to settle without further commentary. The practice of letting go deepens the sense of ease. Thoughts arise and fade without resistance. Each passing moment confirms the truth of change. The mind rests in quiet presence as change unfolds. No need to chase permanence. Simply observe the flow. This observation cultivates a steady mind that does not cling to outcomes. The practice supports lasting inner calm. In the quiet before desire takes shape, compassion and wisdom are not separate faculties, but one living quality of an awakened mind, each feeding the other in every breath. The unity of compassion and wisdom transforms intention so that deeds arise from pure clarity, without selfish motive, allowing every action to be guided by inner truth and illuminates the path of service to all beings. When this truth is held, the heart opens to all suffering, allowing care to flow naturally while remaining unattached to outcome, and the mind rests in equanimity. Such balance invites a deeper trust that every circumstance serves the unfolding of wisdom, guiding the soul toward ever greater clarity. Rest here simply knowing that love and insight are inseparable.